Caught my husband secretly communicating on Snapchat and subscribing to his former student's page. Don't know what to do next. I am freaking out right now. My partner is a high school math teacher. He has been teaching now for a decade now and generally has been praised by students, parents, other teachers and admin for how he does his job. We have been together for 7 years. We got married in 2023. I have never worried about him being interested in his students. We have even talked about teacher/student relationships and he has never expressed anything other than disgust and how it's an abuse of power, even if the student is an adult, not to specific instances just movie instances and general topic discussion. He has never been called out for being inappropriate, that I know, never engaged with students over the weekend/summer, unless it's school related, but even then all contact is through school email or with parents. He generally refers to his students as his kids and actively keeps a distance from developing too close of a relationship, because he is young, attractive and other male teachers recommended he do so. Okay, here's what happened. Around March, we were at the movie theater one evening and I noticed a gaggle of girls staring and pointing. I notified my partner, assuming they were his students, and he told me I was right. We did not go over to say hi. We have seen his students before out and about and he says hi on a case-by-case basis but typically doesn't initiate, and they did not come to us. But, I noticed the rest of the girls playfully shoving one girl with lots of whispers, and the girl was staring at my husband sheepishly. I immediately thought she probably had a crush and honestly, thought nothing of it after until last weekend. We were celebrating Canada Day at a barbecue with family and my husband was pretty wasted. At one point, he went to the bathroom and didn't come back for so long I was worried he was getting sick, so I checked on him. When I knocked and said it was me, he said he was okay and would be right out but didn't unlock the door. He stayed in the bathroom for another 10 minutes. Super unusual for him but it could have been anything. Later that night, I woke up around 3 and he wasn't in bed. Worried again, I got up and found him on his phone in the living room. This is also unusual. When I asked what he was doing, he was definitely surprised and hit his phone screen. He said he couldn't sleep and didn't want to wake me up by watching videos next to me in bed. We both went back to sleep together. The next morning, he was hungover and slept in. I went through his phone. I have never not had a reason to trust him, so I have never gone through his phone. I found nothing of interest, except for the Snapchat app, which was not logged into. He used to use Snapchat but, from what I knew, hadn't in years. I honestly assumed nothing finding the app and figured I was reading too much into things. Last night, I saw a Snapchat notification pop up on his phone while we were watching TV. It was out of the corner of my eye but the logo is too recognition to mistake. My heart fucking dropped, because, knowing he was logged out last week means he is definitely using it secretly. I pretended like I didn't notice and a couple minutes later he got up to take a long poop. I cried while he was in the bathroom. Shortly after, I said I was going to bed early and he stayed up without me. He's on summer break. When I got up for work, he was still passed out. I went on his phone and found no Snapchat app. It was then that I knew something was shady for sure and when I looked up Snapchat on the home screen, it was there, just hidden in a folder of apps disguised as cooking and workout apps. He had not logged out of Snapchat and when I opened it, there was only one conversation with a real human and it was a girl. There was no evidence of conversation between them because, for those who don't know, Snapchat deletes previous messages for good. I was ready to confront him for cheating with basically zero evidence but decided to keep snooping for something concrete. In that same disguised folder, I found that he had OnlyFans downloaded. The only content creator he was subscribed to had the same username as the woman on Snapchat, but it's his fucking student. The one from the theater, who was blushing. I have never clocked a face so fast. I am 100% certain. We make fun of OnlyFans simps all the time so I was already disgusted but I actually threw up when I found this. I was scared I was going to wake him up and genuinely didn't know what to do so I put his phone back and left for work. At work, I did some sleuthing and was able to find the girl's Instagram/Twitter accounts. She's 18 and from grad photos I can tell with certainty that she attended my husband's school. The same OnlyFans link was in her Twitter bio. He has texted me normally throughout the day and I have not responded to any but to tell him I have to go to my parents tonight but in reality I am still at work because I don't know what to do. The reality is that this is fucked up but she has graduated. Is this now just the same as any old affair? I don't even know if she was in any of his classes. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to do next. Lawyer? Should I ask my husband and see what he says? Should I ask her? Edit to add, does anybody know how to / if you can tell when an app was first downloaded? Update 1. To clarify some things, no, I didn't have pictures or screenshots of the Snapchats or OnlyFans. I was so upset I didn't even think about it until afterwards and I thought there would be another chance to get them. I realized I fucked up. For some of my early comments, my brain was still reeling. I am 100% leaving my husband, to make it clear. It took me some time to come to terms with what was actually happening and the fact that I was in denial but Reddit helped me get there, so thanks. The comments were about 50-50 split between talking to a lawyer or my husband first. The reality is that I didn't think I had anywhere else to go at the time and I was so emotional last night and felt like I needed to know. I wanted to confront him and rip off the band-aid. He called me while I was still at work and I ended up telling him we needed to talk. He seemed thrown off by this and cancelled plans to stay in. I didn't get home for almost 3 hours after that, crying and deciding WTF to do. Ultimately I went home. If you're ever in the same position, don't do what I did. I wanted to follow the advice of many comments by basically saying I know about her, but I really wanted to get pictures of the evidence first, so I planned on playing it cool, saying never mind, all is okay, until we went to sleep and then sneaking back on his phone. I shouldn't have said anything on the phone, but my emotions got the better of me. But when I walked in the house, I immediately felt like he knew that I knew. He said what's up super standoffishly, just seemed off, and whatever I said on the phone must have tipped him off. Either that, or he was able to tell that I was on his phone in the morning somehow, pretending to be asleep? I'm not sure. So I couldn't control myself and got super emotional and confronted him on the spot. I asked if he had on the Vans. It was the first thing out of my mouth, and he literally said no. What did you want to talk about? I told him I knew that he did, and he denied. I told him I went on his phone this morning and scoffed and walked away. I followed him crying and screaming that I knew he had OnlyFans and Snapchat, that I was leaving him, and finally cried out something about cheating with his students. When I said that, he immediately turned around and asked what the fuck I was talking about. I told him that I knew about the girl, 18F, and his face genuinely turned into somebody I don't know. He immediately began yelling in my face that I don't know what I was talking about, how dare me accuse him of sleeping with his students, that I'm crazy and trying to ruin his life. I was screaming at him back. I told him to open his phone and prove it, and he laughed in my face about how stupid somebody would be to do what I'm accusing him of, and basically threw his phone at my face and said, knock yourself out. As people can probably guess, there was nothing. He definitely knew before I got home. He was logged out of Snapchat, and when I asked him to log in and stop lying, he logged into a different account and asked me if I would drop it now. The first one had just 18F and a few AI account things. This one had all his old college group chats and other people, including me. He gaslit me and swore he didn't have another account. He even suggested that I dreamt all of this. At one point he finally admitted that he subscribed to enough for a streamer during one of our intimacy lulls, but never a student, and he swore he lied because he loved me and doesn't engage in that kind of behavior anymore. It was just hours of lies and gaslighting. He said that he knew which student I was talking about, but that he's never spoken to her or taught her. He didn't recall the movie theater incident and accused me of imagining it too. He denied receiving a Snapchat at all a few nights ago when I first saw it. He denied acting shady the days before. He denied everything. I was absolutely disgusted by him the whole night. As the conversation went on, he started to talk about how he's going to get us marriage counseling, that my trust issues can be worked on, and he would leave teaching if it's what it took for me to stay, but never admitted to anything with a student. Admittedly, I was starting to get a bit of a gaslight fog about the situation, believing some of what he was saying, but when he volunteered to leave teaching, I knew it was worse than I knew. Because teaching is his everything, he gave up an amazing opportunity which would have made him 3-4x the money and way more recognition to teach, and has never complained about his job a day in his life. We both know he loves his job more than he loves me. If this was truly all a misunderstanding, or if it was a one-off with a graduated non-student, I just think he would do more to protect his job and his career. He wouldn't just leave over crazy behavior for me. That immediately told me everything I needed to know, that he was panicking on the inside about me leaving and me telling people. Maybe because more happened with 18F than what I know, maybe because he's done this before, I'm not sure. But he fucked up bad. It's so late, I was so exhausted, and I feigned agreement in working through it and told him I could move past it, but I was obviously lying. I need time to get shit in order. He is sleeping in the guest room tonight. I told him I would need a lot of space, and he said he was okay with that. He left his phone in our bedroom for the night as a peace offering. I hate his fucking guts. I have so many things on my mind right now: what the fuck to do, how to get a lawyer, if I should tell my family, if I should tell the school, the fact that I have no proof but I know what I saw. The fact that I'll be 33 and divorced. Above all, the fact that my husband may have slept with this girl. That's my gut telling me, because he kept repeating that he would never sleep with his students, over and over, when I was using words like cheat with, look at porn of, or sexed with. So that's the update. I was gaslit and lied too. I got no sleep last night, but still went to work this morning to get away from him. He hasn't texted me or called all day. I want nothing more than to go to the school with this info. My heartbreak is gone and I'm just angry and disgusted and want to right his wrongs, but I need him to admit to it so I can know how bad it is, and I don't think he will. I was thinking of telling him that I reached out to the girl. I'm not going to, and see if that freaks him out enough to come clean, but what if she doesn't know / he's using a fake account? Or just saying I have proof, even though I don't. Anybody have any good ideas? In the meantime, looking for divorce lawyer ASAP. Now on to second story. In-laws disregarded our wishes and secretly used a questionable patch on our sick daughter. Wife and I confronted them, now facing family fight. I, 24 male, and my wife, 24, recently had our daughter in July. She is the best thing to ever happen to my wife and I, and we couldn't be more thrilled to have our little bundle of joy. She recently got sick while staying with her grandparents, my in-laws, while my wife and I took a trip for work. For context, my in-laws are really big into Life Wave / X39. It's some patch that supposedly helps regrow stem cells by reflecting light rays back into your body, allowing your body to produce more stem cells to fight off diseases and sickness. If you ask me, it sounds like a snake oil, and my wife agrees, calling it a pyramid scheme. The only way to get said patches is by spending well over $1,000, and then you're tasked with selling the patches yourself. It's essentially some multi-level marketing product, where the more patches you sell, the more money you make. Falling right in line with my wife's comparison to a pyramid scheme, but MLMs are somehow legal. Now, I've tried doing research on X39, and the only comments I've seen praise said product are brand new accounts never used before or after, or their entire profile is dedicated to shilling out for LifeWave/X39. In my own research, they appear to just be overpriced stickers. They contain no medication, no special UV rays or anything of the sort. They're literally just an overpriced sticker with an air bubble. But my wife and I have made it very clear that we wanted no part in X39, nor did we want our daughter to have it. Even if it's fake, we wanted no RT in it, and on the off chance it did something, I didn't want our daughter to be used as their lab rat or guinea pig. Now, before we left our daughter with my in-laws, we provided them with some infant medication, just in case she got sick. Can never be too safe, you know? Well, we returned home from Ray work trip early because our daughter wasn't getting any better, so we picked her up and went home. We were going to give her a bath, and in the process of taking her jacket off, we found an X39 patch on her arm. Upon finding it, we immediately called her parents and demanded to know why she had a patch on her. Her parents tried saying that it's safe for baby. We even ordered the ones for ages 7 and younger. And that it's practically medication. Their words, which still didn't answer our question. So my wife checked the go bag, and the Motrin we gave them was, while it was used, not used very much at all. Her parents tried claiming that someone else in their group or whatever gave it to their son and they got better in a week. Point is, we didn't buy it, nor did we care. We've made it abundantly clear that we wanted nothing to do with X39 and we didn't want our daughter to be a part of it. They failed to listen. My wife was on the phone with them for over an hour, and while I don't know the exact length the conversation went to, I know it at least ended with her screaming, "Going to see my fucking daughter again, and if you attempt to come to my house we will call the police," before hanging up. That was 3 days ago now, and we've had several missed calls from family members, her parents, her siblings, and even family friends, all saying that we overreacted, and they were just trying to help. Maybe we overreacted, but we wanted nothing to do with that, and despite making it clear, they went against our wishes and did it anyways. And instead of giving my daughter actual medication, they tried to give her some placebo patch. Her parents tried claiming that we stopping them from seeing their only grandchild over something so small. But we didn't want to hear it. Ida? Update 1. About a month ago I made this post ranting about my in-laws' weird obsession with for lack of a better term, cult regarding stem cell regeneration through patches, which clearly isn't a real thing. There's been some development on that end, and while I'm confident things will likely end here, I wanted to give a quick update for those who may have been curious. I'm writing this on the toilet at work, so don't mind the rushiness of it all. After my wife essentially cut tied with them and we all received a million phone calls and text messages from family and friends, things quieted down for about a week or two. We started having my sister watch our daughter instead, when we had to work. We haven't had another out-of-trip town since the initial post, however. Through those couple of weeks we never really heard anything beyond a couple of supposed shit-talking posts on Facebook bitching about us, but I can't seem to find the posts. We thought things were, probably, hopefully, going to end there, but boy were we wrong. And this is quite the jump from the last post. My wife and I were visited by CPS about 2 weeks ago or so, after they received concerning calls about supposed child abuse and negligence within the household. Of course, nothing like that happened, and the caseworker was very quick to see that. We had asked who reported her, and while she couldn't say, we had a suspicion it was from her parents. We were completely helpful and cooperative with the caseworker, and after she left that night, my wife called her mom up and asked her if she's the one who called CPS. Surprisingly, her mother took full accountability, but, not so surprisingly, tried to spin it around in her favor, claiming that she did it for our own good because our daughter was sick and she wasn't getting any better when she was there, so clearly we were doing something awful as parents. Kids get sick, it happens. But they're also extreme anti-vaxxers. Not just COVID, I mean everything. From even as something as trivial as the flu shot. Yet, they're willing to shill out thousands of dollars for some supposed stem cell regeneration sticker. The fucking hypocrisy and irony in their bullshit is unmatched. My wife didn't really know how to react to that, so she basically told her mom to go fuck herself, and she wants nothing to do with her again. I know I saw a few comments on the last post saying we shouldn't have cut them out entirely, but now I'm starting to question why we didn't cut them out years ago, before our daughter was even a thought in our heads. About a week after the first audit, my mother-in-law showed up to our house on my day off while my wife was at work, and essentially demanded to see our daughter, forcing her way into our home, pushing past my arm. When I told her to get the hell out of my house, she had no business matching in here like that. She essentially told me that I'm unfit to be a parent because I'm depriving my daughter of help she desperately needed because she's clearly a very sick child. My daughter is perfectly healthy right now, and in fact, Has had no stiffy nose and no high temperature, nothing. I told my mill straight up that she was batshit insane. I went off on her about how she lied to us, went against our wishes, had the audacity to call and lie to CPS, and then show up at our house unannounced/uninvited, and march herself inside, as well as everything about her X39/LifeWave bullshit. We argued there for a while, before I finally got so fed up, I told her to leave my house before I call the police. She stormed out of the house, and in true Karen fashion, said this isn't over. Before slamming my door, I immediately called my wife who was of course, irate. The following morning, we filed a restraining order at the courthouse from her mom and D, because they're clearly not in their right mindset. The caseworker had to audit us a few more times as per their guidelines over the past 2 weeks, and yesterday was her last day where she informed us that we're doing good and she's sorry for the trouble they caused. We kept her up to speed on the LifeWave shit, the showing up unannounced and the restraining order, and though she couldn't really take a side, she seemed apologetic. But my wife and I are pretty livid. We started looking at houses in another state to get as far away from her in-laws as possible. Our company has offices out there, so it's entirely possible we could just be transferred, so we're crossing our fingers that all goes well, the restraining order gets filed soon enough, and we'll get a place clear across the country. Update 2. Things aren't going to be as juicy in this post as the last two, but some new things have happened, so I'll just jump right in. After my in-laws called CPS on us for no discernible reasons other than we forbid them from seeing our daughter, things mostly quieted down. Some of you suggested that we should do more than just get a restraining order, so we bought some security cameras and had them installed all around our property, and our neighbors, who are pretty good friends of ours, was in the loop for the most part, and any time we had to go somewhere, not only did we have video cameras recording every time someone entered our driveway displayed directly on our phones, our neighbors kept us updated too. She stopped coming around for the first few months since she called CPS on us, but just the month before last, as we were preparing to move, my in-laws somehow got word we planned on moving states and attempted to block our driveway as her dad tried blocking the front door. Not sure what their plan was there because we have a back door and an extra side door leading from the kitchen, but I digress. Her mom blocked the driveway, stopping our U-Haul or car from leaving the propane, and wouldn't budge, even after we told them we would call the police. They told us they'd move if we told them where we were moving to, but my wife told them that wasn't happening and they had 10 minutes to leave or we'd be calling the police. My neighbor came over during the commotion, but my in-laws still wouldn't budge. My daughter is crying during all of this as my wife is trying to console her, as my neighbor and I are attempting to remove my father-in-law from the doorway, but he wouldn't move. Eventually my wife called the police, and I'm guessing another neighbor called them as well because they responded within mere minutes. My in-laws kept screaming that we were taking their rightful grandchild away and that we'd all be damned to burn in hell for this, but honestly that just made me laugh. The police kept asking them to leave, but they wouldn't. Eventually they were arrested for refusing to leave, and the police were nice enough to call a tow truck for us to be able to back out of the driveway. Lo and behold, as the police were handcuffing my in-laws, they both had on those X39 patches, and even the police questioned them about it. But whatever, what's done is done. We were able to finally leave and on to new adventures. We've been settled in at our new house for the better part of over a month, and we're enjoying it greatly. No word from her in-laws, and they have no idea where we are. We have them blocked, but we'll eventually get messages from unknown numbers or Facebook accounts asking where we moved, but there's no way they're that foolish to believe we'll actually tell them. Luckily, neither my last state or this one have any grandparents' rights, so we're in the clear there.